Good evening and welcome to the FITT Show, financial information for today and tomorrow. I'm Bobby Kinzer.
And I am Thomas Doty.
And we are the FITT Show, helping our people get their finances in shape. We're just so glad to have everybody joining us. Looking forward to a great show. Last week we had a wonderful show. We talked about top money rules. For 2022, I was flying solo, but I got my partner back, flying side by side. I ain't nothing but the wingman, and he is the man. What's up, dude?
How you doing, man?
Man, if I was any better, I'd be in heaven. Hello. So look, y'all remember, click on the thumbs up button to give us some traction. We reach more people that way. Thank you if you can do that. And if you are on YouTube, please subscribe. And on Facebook, please share. Please share. And that expands our audience. We can reach more people. That's how it works with Facebook. Now, I'm done with the administrative things. I just want to tell you today, got a very important show. It's a lot's been going on. A whole lot's been going on in the stock market. In other words, actually, the stock market has just been going down. A lot of people are panicking. So today's show, we want to talk about how to weather the storm, market corrections, little few guidelines to help maybe calm your nerves a little bit, and maybe not, but you need to understand what's going on. And we're going to talk about those things today. So please share this with other people and call your mama, your brother, your father, your sister, Lottie Dot, and everybody, and tell them to tune in. We here every Thursday at 8 p.m. Though, what's going on with the market, man?
Oh man, it's been a volatile week, a volatile year, so to speak. This year has been crazy, up and down, lots of increases, lots of decreases. But for the past week, the Dow went down about 500 points, about 1.4%. It started the week at 34,700, ended the week at 34,200. It went as low as 33,300 and as high as 34,900. So it's been crazy. Not for the weak of heart. The Nasdaq has been going down at even a faster rate. It started the week at about 14,100, ended the week at 13,400. That's a 5% drop. And we'll talk about this in a little bit, but that would be considered a pullback. And the NASDAQ went as low as 13,100, and it was as high as 14,200. So you can see just an extremely volatile week. A couple of my holdings, Microsoft, it closed at $300 a share. Its high for the week was 306. It went as low as 278. And Bob and I were talking earlier this week, and I told him I had thought about buying some more, but I got like 600 shares of Microsoft. And so I don't want to put any more in it. But man, I just feel so strongly about it. And when some stocks go down with the overall market, the good stocks usually recover a little bit quicker. Tesla has taken it on the chin. It closed at 829, and it was as high as 994. And that's a pretty significant drop. And it was as low as what it closed at today, 829. Apple didn't really have a lot until it closed at 159. And for the week, it was as high as 169 and as low as 155. So it's kind of hanging in there. And the last stock I bought was Pfizer. And it's taken a pretty good, not a big hit, but it's a little hit. But again, that's one I bought more for the dividend than growth, though of course, I do expect it to grow. It closed at about 53.37, and it was as high as 54.55 and as low as 50. And that's another one I thought about maybe buying a little bit more as it was down around 50, but I did not pull the trigger. So what's going on the crypto side, Bob?
Oh, my goodness gracious. Crypto is taking a beating. It's getting, oh my God, crypto is taking a big beating. It's been going down ever since. It went back up. Like today I got a message that Shiba was up 4%. Man, within a daggone, I looked in within like about maybe 3 hours, it was down by 5%. So the cryptocurrency market, remember the market cap, I keep telling y'all, that's one of the things to look at. In the cryptocurrency market, it was at one time 2.7 trillion, and it's down to 1.7 trillion. That means there's been a trillion. Yeah, wow, $1 trillion sell off, and that's what happens at the end of the year because a lot of people, for tax reasons, might be taking losses or taking their gains now and all of that kind of thing. But the Bitcoin, which we sort of look at, because that's like the number one of all the cryptocurrencies, is over probably about 14,000 cryptocurrencies now. But I kind of look at the top 10 that are usually there, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, which is number two. That's what they call smart contracts. We're supposed to give it a little bit more structure. And then you got what they call stable coins, which is tethered. They tie it to the dollar, pay to the dollar. And those have been doing well because they pay to the dollar, believe it or not. But the Bitcoin, let me see, the Bitcoin last week was down to $40,801. At 7 p.m. Remember the reason why I'm giving specific time because cryptocurrency is 24 hours and globally. So it could be different than the time I tell you. But as of 7 p.m., it was down from $40,000 to $37,000 and $37,167. But it's still number one. And it had a market cap at one time as half of the cryptocurrency market, about $1 trillion. It's down now to 703 billion. So a lot of people selling off. A lot of people were looking at Shiba, which is one of the meme cryptocurrencies, the little logo and things. A dog out of India. A lot of people was into that. I had a friend that put in 35,000 6 months ago. It went to 400,000. It is down past half of that now. And Shiba was in the top 10, now is number 14, and it's been decreasing. It was up earlier today, but then it went down again. So like we said, cryptocurrency is highly speculative. We said don't invest money that you're not willing to lose in there. But like we always say, there's two kinds of play. It's the short play and the long play. We usually say go with the long play because this stuff goes and comes back. You never know. And trying to time the market, jumping in and jumping out, we always say that's hard to do. Even the top financial advisors or financial brokers don't even, they even caution that. So be aware. Though my stocks like NXP, which is a semiconductor, which is semiconductors in all phones and cars and now smart grids. I mean, for electric, for states and water, everything's run by smart grids, which run by semiconductors. And I had one out of Holland called NXP, and I've been following that. And I got in a few years ago when it was at $70. It went all the way up to $223, but it is down to $187. Stock's been taking a beat, though. I was into General Electric. Now they had a reverse stock split, meaning where different than a stock split is where if you had 20 shares and they total $100 and they split, you end up with 40 shares, right? And they cut the price to $50. It's still the price is still the same. You end up more shares. That's stock split. But a reverse stock split is the other way. You can have 100 shares. And you end up with they reverse stock split, and you end up with way less shares, which is reverse stock split.
And usually people do stock splits because their price gets too high, and they just want to lower the price and make it more attractive to buy. And that used to be important back in the day because people used to not have to, but typically buy stocks in $100 lots, but 100 share lots, I'm sorry. But now with all these apps and online brokerage, you can buy 1 and 2 and 3 shares of stock. So people don't worry about their price as much as they used to because it's easy to buy. But that used to be the reason people would do stock splits.
Right. And it's really just plain and simple. They're trying to make the stock more attractive because just like, Amazon, they know not that many people are going to have $3,000 to buy one stock, but they have made that plan to keep it up like that. But yeah, and the good thing about a stock split, you end up with more shares, and so when it goes back up, theoretically, you should be making more money. But just wanted to share that. And Doug, I just want to tell you, I've been having an eye on Ford's Motor Company stock because they just said they got orders for 600,000 electric cars, and General Motors is just building a plant to build electric cars. And everybody knows that the real people who have the down pack and the experts in electric cars is Tesla. They got it down pack for the most part. America's still catching up. So I don't know which one of those companies, Chrysler, they all are getting into electric cars, but one of them is going to be a little bit better than the other. And if you have their stock, I think that might be the play. But you know what? I just don't know which one it's going to be. But I'm banking on Ford.
Yeah, but you know what's funny, Bob, is you get people who hear these big stock decreases and they'll say, "Oh, that's why I didn't invest in the market. Look at these stock drops." But just for an example, I bought Microsoft. I start buying shares of that in $100 lots, and even though it's down from what we've talked about, I mean, I'm still carrying a $50,000 gain on the 600 shares I own. So even though it's going down, and it may go down some more, but over the long haul, I'm betting, guessing, hoping, and did a little bit of analysis based on the numbers that says Microsoft's probably going to go up. So that's you can't worry about when the stock goes down. It's just people who don't invest like to say, "See, look at the market. That's why I didn't invest." But I personally am not a believer in that.
Like those same people with the vaccine. See, you took the shot and you still caught it. No, at least you ain't going to die and be on a respirator. But that's why people are cynical, though. And that's what we're going to talk about, y'all, how to weather the storm today. Right. Just want to shout out to my wonderful friend, Debbie Bostic. What's up, Debbie? Thank you for watching. And, man, me and this guy, though, used to go around the country closing savings and loans for the Federal Savings and Loan Insurance Corporation. John Caceres, my man. Oh, man. Dope. Once again, we got our international viewers. My man, Keith Davies, man, over in Scotland, man. Thanks for watching. Man, you up late, dude. Thanks for checking us out. And our frat brothers always, Clutch McCargo and Dope. You know our loyal viewer, Garnett, is watching. Thank you for y'all.
I got to meet her. I feel like she's a friend of mine.
I know. she religiously
met her. You've told me good things about her, but I haven't met her.
She's been watching religiously, and my wonderful, the top daycare provider in the land, Aunt Jen. They call her Aunt Jen, Jennifer Bing. But she's watching too. So hello everybody. Make sure y'all click on that like button and the heart button. And normally my sisters Linda and Noli are also watching. I just want to share, if you don't, you gave what the stock market is doing today. We just want to let y'all know that in the past 5 days, the stock market, the NASDAQ has dropped over 800 points. I don't know if you said that for the 5 days or was it for the
that's
week?
What I said.
For the week, you did say, okay. So yeah, you did say it was 5%. You did say that. Thank you very much. But it's taking a beat. So let's get into it, Dope. Let's get into talk. Let me tell you where we're going, you all, so y'all understand. Okay, we are all about information. And we believe the more information you have, the more sound decisions that you can make. So remember, y'all, you got to make sure you read. And it don't have to be 50-page technical analysis, but just get a basic understanding. So, Dope, let's talk about explaining the bull markets versus bear. A lot of people heard this. We know that, but we just want to give a better understanding of how to weather the storm.
Yeah, we're going to give a framework of what we're dealing with and what we're talking about so you can better make some decisions on how things are going. But let's start with, let's make it real simple. A bear market's when stocks are going up consistently. Going down consistently. And a bear market is when basically stocks are going up in a trend. Okay, and when you talk stock index going down by 20%, that's from its recent high. That's when you're talking about a bear market. Now you contrast that with a correction, and that's like a 10 to 20% drop. And then there's one more that you hear a lot is a pullback, and that's somewhere around 5%. And that's just like a mini correction, but not as big as a normal correction. So let's talk about the history of those. In a bear market, stocks usually lose about 36%. This is on average based on history. By contrast, in a bull market, stocks gain about 114%. And that's a pretty considerable difference. Bear markets are normal. They happen all the time. It's not unusual. Since the S&P 500 index first started in 1928, there have been 26 bear markets. In that same time period, there have been 27 bull markets. In total, we always use these numbers, again, they're facts, that over the long haul, stocks average about a 9% increase a year. So another thing to consider is bear markets tend to be short-lived. They don't last long. The average bear market just lasts about 10 months. So that's another good thing to know. Whereas bull markets, on average, last about 2.7 years. So hopefully that gives you a framework of what we're dealing with, what you're saying. It's not unusual. It's not a surprise. You got a bunch of things going on. Like last year, the stock market went up like crazy. And so it's not going to just continue to go up. There's going to be corrections. And now you have a couple of things pulling on it. Inflation, which Bob has given you a lot of information on that. And also interest rates. The Fed is talking about raising interest rates. And what that does, once interest rates start going up, it gives investors another option for their money. And so instead of putting money in stocks, as interest rates rise, you can put your money in more fixed instruments, guaranteed, and that pulls money out of the stock market, which also causes the stock market to go down.
So that's why do you need to know this, you all? So you don't be panicking when things go down, and you don't be just jumping all around when things are up. You at least understand. Now we don't know what caused these downturns or upswings, but you at least can understand them, and that's for the know to invest. That's why we're saying if you know these things, when things are down, that's actually the time that we should be considering to invest. So just want to add that every 3.6 years, that's the long-term average frequency between a bear market. And that's something almost 4 years, almost to T, that there is a bear market. Now, bear markets can be painful. We're not saying that this is easy to stomach, but overall, markets are positive a majority of, definitely a majority of the time. The last 92 years of the market history, look, bear markets have comprised of 20 of those years. But put
Bob,
another way, yes.
Bob, just make sure you're clear on that. That 3.6 years, that's the frequency between bear markets.
You said how long they last. I'm talking about the frequency between.
Yeah, let's make sure we're clear on that.
Thank you. No, that's good, because that's what the difference between what you said and I've said. Right. I'm saying between when we had the bear markets, and I'm saying we have on average 20.6. There've been for 92 years. There's been 20.6 of those years have been bear markets in 92 years. Let me put it another way. That means stocks have been on the rise 78% of the time. That's why me and Dope say, the long-term play is the way to go with the market. If you can weather the storm, you can actually reap the benefits. But remember this, though, and we always preface our statements with being in the market with this: don't invest money you can't afford to lose in any, whether it's cryptocurrency, mutual funds, IRAs, thrift savings plan. It's the same thing. You all don't invest money you can't afford to lose. So now we explained what a bull and bear market is. Now we're going to tell you how to deal with it.
Yeah, and these are some tidbits that just to give you some direction and the things to think about as we are in the throes of getting close to NASDAQ is considered in a correction. The S&P 500 is not quite there yet. I'm sorry, the Dow is not quite there yet. But a couple of things to remember. Don't invest in money that you're going to need in the next 3 years, okay? And like Bob mentioned, don't invest money that you can't afford to lose. I mean, nobody really could afford to lose any money, but if you have something come up that you're going to need cash for within the next 3 years, it probably shouldn't be in the stock market. If you got to pay for your kids' college, if again, anything you have where you're going to need that money, don't put. If you're going to need it within 3 years, don't put it in stock. Find another vehicle for a fixed instrument, savings bonds, a type of bond, but definitely should not be invested in stock. The offset of that is if you have some idle cash sitting on the sideline, this is the time to put it to work. I mean, this is the time to find some value, find a good stock out there that's taking a hit with the overall market, but that stock may be a gem and you know it's going to bounce back, or you expect it to bounce back sooner and stronger than the overall market. So it's like I said, I looked at Microsoft, but I think I'm already too heavily invested in that to continue to invest in, put more into that. But I'm looking at something else because there are definitely values out there. And a lot of people think, oh, I'll just wait until it hits bottom. Well, nobody knows when that's going to be. And don't think if anybody does know, they're probably sitting on an island in the Caribbean chilling, because there's no way to know when you're going to be at the bottom. We've always believed in investing consistently in good times and bad, and just to be a consistent investor. And finally, history shows it's better to get money into the market as soon as possible. Sooner is always better than later. You can say, I'll wait till it drops, but you don't know when it's going to drop. Get your money invested, find something good to invest in, get in there and watch it grow over the long term.
Dope. Once again, I want to give clarification. At the top, when you said, make sure you don't have any money you need in the next 3 years invested in the stock market. That does not mean do not invest in the stock market in the next 3 years. What Dope said, if you have money that you're going to need in the next 3 years, don't be invested in the stock market. Just a clarification, Dope. Another thing, Dope, got a question, Dope. Government is going to raise interest rates in March. How does this usually affect the stock market?
Yeah, I just mentioned that, and the government, the Fed's going to interest rates, but
Right.
what that does, it gives investors another option for their money. So when interest rates were zero, essentially zero, everybody's borrowing. It's very cheap to borrow money. So there's a lot of money out there. People are investing. Companies are using that for growth. Everything's good. But because you have nothing else to invest in, you don't want to, and as we've talked about oftentimes, you don't want to put your money into a savings account that's paying less than 1%. So the stock market is a better option for your money to grow. And so once interest rates start to rise, that creates another option. And some people may pull their money out of the stock market and take the fixed interest that they get from investing in a savings account or bonds or treasury bills or whatever. So that between interest rates going up and inflation, again, I'm not saying that's the direct cause of what's going on, but because it's all these other things that are happening that we've talked about before, the political situation in Ukraine, the the virus is going around. There's a bunch of things, but the two big items right now are interest rates and inflation. Hope that answered the question.
And that was a good explanation, though. And I want to also, I don't know if anyone caught it, because it started off with the government going to raise interest rate. Don't say, hold it, it's not the government, it's Fed. I hope y'all understand the difference between the government and the Federal Reserve. Now, yes, the government handles the Treasury, right? They're the ones who print the money, correct? But the people who decides how much money is to be printed and controls monetary policy is the Federal Reserve, independent of the government. Just want to give that little Treasury and Federal Reserve 101 lesson. That's why don't say the government, it's the Federal Reserve. A lot of people don't know that, because the government does print the cash. With that, I like to say it's important to understand that no one can predict with certainty when the market will bottom. No one can really time the market. That's what me and Dope always talk about. But the thing is, there's usually like 4 economic cycles in Econ 101. It's the peak, it's the downturn, it's the bottom, and it's the upswing. That's normally what happens with the market. No one can determine how those movements happen, but they do happen. And the key is to understand when those are happening. Because when the market's at the peak, that's not the time you really want to be buying. But when the market's at a downturn, no one really can predict the bottom. But you can see a downturn happening, and that's when you want to get in. You don't want to be purchasing no big items because you might be paying more than you need to be paying for. And then there's an upswing, and that's usually when you get in. And when you get into the stocks are low and they're starting to move up. But John Kassir said, the stock market has already made adjustment for interest rates. That's probably true, John. That's why we're taking this beating right now. But they plan to do 3 more. So we don't know how that's going to be effective, but they're planning to make 3 more interest rate hikes. And that could have an effect. Now, use this environment as an opportunity to revisit your risk tolerance and your portfolio allocation. Market corrections aren't fun, but they do offer a unique chance to see how well your expected appetite lines up with your actual appetite. Notice I said your expected appetite compared to your actual appetite. Consider taking a step back if frequent market monitoring is causing you to have anxieties. Step back, take a deep breath, don't do nothing. Get yourself together, and hopefully you get control of your stuff. Man, I gotta say, man, Carlos Perez is watching Dope, and wonderful friend Theonita Butler, John Butler's wife, Dr. John Butler. Thank you for watching, Theonita. And Carlos, thanks for watching. So, Dope, market fluctuations are challenging for retirees.
Yeah, it's a little more scary when you're in our age group, Bob, because our horizon is we hope it's long term, but realistically it's probably shorter term than somebody like my kids who can go through. They'll probably go through, as we said, 20-some bear and bull markets. So this can make you question your asset allocation. And there's always a tendency, what we want to try to get you to do is not panic, because there's always a tendency to, the market's going down, I'm pulling out. And if that works for you, then of course go do it. But just realize that as life expectancies continue to be put out with medical advancements and people taking better care of themselves, you're going to need your money probably to last a very long time. And we've talked several times about the ravages of inflation. I mean, just the simple, you got $1 today, and when you had $1 a year ago, today is 94 cents because inflation is 6%. And so if you don't have money invested in something that's growing, then you are losing money while doing nothing. Your buying power is decreasing. So you have to balance what you can stand to have invested in items that are going to grow for you versus the volatility of the market going down, because a lot of retirees use the money in their investment accounts to live on. That's what a lot of retirees use as their monthly income, because Social Security is not that much, and it seems like a lot of folks don't have pensions, and I know the younger folks don't, so they got a totally different game to play. But most folks our age have pensions, I do believe, because they just started eliminating them in the last 10, 15 years. And I think it's something like only 10% of companies offer pensions now. So make sure you balance the volatility versus the fact that you're probably going to need money for a long time. If you made it to 65, I forget the exact number, but it was something like if you get to be 65, the likelihood of you reaching 75 is fairly high. And I don't know the exact number, but it's a pretty high number. So
I saw a thing that said if you make it to 50, there's a 50-50 chance you're going to make it to 100. I saw that the other day.
wow, yeah. Well, my mother will be 102 in March, so
Wow.
I'm planning on having enough to last me a long time.
You got some good genes. You got some
I
good
hope
loins.
so. I
You
hope
come
so.
from some good loins, young man. Hey, Dode, I want to give a shout out. I'm glad he reminded me. Carlos Perez, man, went to Texas A&I, man. He's a Javelina, and he shout out to Javelinas and said, God bless. He said, you had a great group of basketball players, 75, 76, 77, 78. I was there 77, 78, 79. And Carlos, I just want to let you know, I don't know if you heard, but my teammate, homeboy, played with me in high school and Texas A&I, Earth Dayton passed last week, and his actual funeral services are tomorrow. If anybody out there listening that knows Eric, you can go on to rnhorton.com and view his memorial service at 3 p.m. It's R as in Randolph, N as in Nancy, Horton, HORTON.com. You click on live stream, afternoon ceremony, and look up Eric Staten, and you can view Eric's memorial service from 3 to 4 p.m. tomorrow, Friday, the 28th. May he rest in peace. Thanks, Carlos, for checking us out, man. Really, really appreciate you hollering at us. Don't want to talk about one of our most important concepts, and that's a financial plan. And it's always important. As you know, me and Dope, we ride that horse down the cliff and back up the other side because we know it's very important. But it's even more crucial in a stock market downturn that you have a plan and you stick to it. What most people do, they panic and they go away from their plan because they just panic. They just think that Chicken Little, the sky's falling. But no, stick with your plan. If you have a good plan, well-balanced plan, because the basic foundation of every financial plan is that it helps people ride out the inevitable ups and downs that come with investing. That's why you have a plan, which is tied to your risk tolerance, tied to your timeline and your goals. So it's so important, you all, to really keep that in mind. Though with that, do you have any more before we go to takeaways?
Yeah, I just want to remind people again. I've said it several times. Get your taxes done as soon as you can. Get them filed. That reduces the time for somebody else to file file your taxes file your taxes in their name, or using your name to file your taxes. So get it done, get it out the way, reduce that time frame.
I had a lot of people respond when I spoke about that last week. Though they're like, wait a minute, they can do identity theft with your tax return?
It happened to me. Yeah, it happened to me. Somebody filed in my wife's name, and I went to hit submit on TurboTax, and it said, no, you've already filed your taxes. And it's a nightmare getting out of that because it's very difficult to reach the IRS. You got to work through the FTC. You have to put locks on your credit, call all the credit files to make sure they haven't done anything there. It holds up your refund if you got a refund coming. It's just a nightmare. It really is. So again, it's no guarantee that if you do it quick, that somebody else hasn't already done it. It just reduces the time that it's out there.
Exactly.
I don't think they just started processing tax returns the 24th. And a lot of the brokerage firms are just now, this week,
Right.
Yeah, Fidelity and Vanguard just put their the 1099s and all that stuff out online. So it's just a reminder, get it done as soon as you can. And if you got a big return, adjust your withholdings and take that money, that extra money, that instead of getting it all back at the end of 2022, throw it into a mutual fund somewhere or get on Cash App and buy a little bit of a stock every month instead of letting the government hold on to your money for a year and then give it back to you at the end of the year.
So, Doe, let's go to the summary and takeaways from what we talked about today.
Okay, got to remember, guys, market corrections, it's not if, it's when. They are going to happen. They've happened since 1928. There's been 20-something of those. They're going to happen. Just ride it out. Wait for the good times.
If you have extra cash sitting in a savings account, there are opportunities in a down market to invest. Savings accounts are paying less than 1%. Down market makes those stocks more attractive. They're cheaper. You can get more shares at a cheaper price. Consider that.
Yeah. No one can predict the stock market. Don't try to time the market. Even the pros have trouble doing that. Invest consistently, constantly, and consistently.
And as we always say, it's important to have a financial plan, especially to deal with the ups and downs of investing.
And just because you have a plan, if you don't review it and adjust it as necessary, then it will not function as it should. Every plan, you should have a plan, but you have to review it and adjust it as your situation changes.
That was a lot, though. As always, we packed 20 pounds in a 10-pound bag. I hope a lot of y'all, it helped you. If you have any questions, you can always put comments in the box. Even when we close down the show, those comments actually are still in that box, and I do go back and review. Also, want to remind people, this is our 35th show. And if you want to view any of our past shows, because we've talked from credit to taxes, to estate planning, to insurance, to planning, to values, to, is what you want really what you need. Go out there. They archived out there on Facebook and on YouTube under the FITT Show, FITT Show. I'd like to thanks once again everybody for viewing again, and my wonderful friend Keith Davies in Scotland. Thank you for staying up so late. Because what's that? It's about 4 o'clock there, something though. If it's almost 9, 5 hours difference. Yeah, it's something like that, 3 or 4 in the morning. He's checking us out. So really, really, really thank you all for tuning in. And remember, you all, put some comments in the comment box. We want to have we wanted to be an interchange, not just us talking to you. We can engage through the comment box.
And Rob, if you have any advice, that's what we're trying to do. We always try to remind you, we're not trying to sell anything. We're just trying to give information. We don't profess to know everything. So if you have something that you think somebody else could use information, pass it on, and we'll pass it on. That's why we're here.
We have a question, though, before we leave. They are taxing funds received from cash apps now, right? Yes. If go ahead, though.
No, I was just going to say that there are specific situations, certain there's an amount of the transaction in which they'll tax, or I think they have to report. So all they're trying to do is catch business people who are using Cash App to avoid paying taxes. That's the goal there. If you aren't doing anything illegal or not trying to hide any money, you shouldn't have anything to worry about.
And also, like Doe said, it depends on the situation that causes the top tax implication. For instance, you can buy Bitcoin with Cash App. So if you cash out of your Bitcoins, you're going to create a tax implication. So that, yes, there is, depending on the situation, they will be taxing. The same thing with Robinhood, all those other exchanges. And see, that's the thing you all want you to understand about cryptocurrency. In order to actually get in and get out, you have to go on an exchange. Now, with cryptocurrencies, they can't control it because you could be holding your cryptocurrency in what they call a wallet, and they don't have access to your wallet, especially if your wallet's on your computer. They don't know. But when you go out on an exchange, mostly all the exchanges have to register with FINRA, the Financial Institution Regulatory Agency, FINRA, FINRA.org. You can use that, go out there and see and get information so you know what you're doing, because you don't want to end up with these tax implications. You don't pay them, you will end up with late fees and penalties. So really understand when you jump in and out of these cryptocurrency or with any investment.
Yeah,
but yes, it does cause a tax.
Yeah, but let's be clear. Any gain or loss on cryptocurrency creates a taxable event. And typical currency exchanges, I don't think you pay any tax on those, but cryptocurrency is considered a capital asset. So they actually ask the question on your tax: have you acquired or sold any cryptocurrency? So just be aware that if you do sell at a gain or a loss, that does create a taxable event.
No, we have another question, and the question is, do you provide 101 services? And the unequivocal answer, undeniable answer is no. We are financial educators. We are not financial advisors. That's exactly why we have this particular banner where you see us flash up from time to time. We want to make sure you understand that we are financial educators. We're not financial advisors because we're not registered advisors. We do not have a Series 7 or 63. So just want to make that clear. But thanks for the question. Thanks for that you even want to consider us. So we take that as an honor.
Yeah, but we do encourage, we encourage you to find one. And my old saying is, find somebody who's rich and ask them who helps them. You don't want to take advice from somebody who's losing.
If somebody broke, you don't want to take their advice. Okay.
Exactly. And so, take the time to find someone to help you with the investment decisions. And it's funny, talking to a buddy of mine, and he's telling me about some of his friends who invest, some of his friends don't. And he's telling me about this one person. They don't want to be bothered investing. Now they're invested because they put money in the S&P index fund, and they don't worry about it. They just put it in there, but they are investing. And that's kind of the ideal situation. They're totally invested, but they don't worry about the ups and downs. That's kind of the place to be. But if you can just get invested, get going over the long term, we've always said this: stock market averages a 9% return over the long haul. That's just too much to ignore.
And Doug, I want to remind people, because we got some friends that got businesses out there. We want to promote people's businesses. We're not invested in any of the businesses, but we do want to let people know about our people that have businesses. And one of my good friends, John Agray, has Eat Din Din. That's EATDINDIN, eatdindin.com. And they deliver in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. They have major chefs. Serious certified chefs that prepare the food and they deliver it to you. But that's eatdindin.com. Check them out. Then our other friend up there in Buffalo, Chris Fuller, he have crinklessports.com. That's CHRINKLES Sports, Crinkles Sports. His name's Chris Fuller. We call him Chris Crinkles, not as in Santa Claus, but he's like Santa Claus with some of the stuff he has. But we just like to promote other people's business. I like to say, hey, Joe Finelli, what's up? FDIC's finest. I know you retired now. He is the tax man. Another piece of information, if you are looking for a financial advisor, go out on, like I told you, FINRA, FINRA.org. That's where they have to register. They have a bunch of them out there. They've been vetted and they're registered, and that's a safe place that you can go out there. But remember, whenever you talk to a financial advisor, the first thing you make sure that they ask you, what is your risk tolerance? Not what they think you should be in. What is your financial goals? Not what they think you should be doing. And if they do, then you know you got a good financial advisor. They want to work for you. You don't work for them. Let your money work for you. You don't work for your money. All right, dope. Once again, another great show, How to Weather the Storm and Market Corrections. Thank you. Stay tuned next week, 8 p.m. I'm going to be broadcasting. I'll be Dopes in Charlotte. I will be in Miami, Florida, where the sun is shining. So anyway, y'all take it easy. Have a great evening. See you next week, 8 p.m. Thursday. The FITT Show.